Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Armchair Analysts podcast. I am your host, Johnny, and with me as always is...
Ace
Ventura, Pet Detective, my man. Feel free to follow our journey on Twitter at AA Podcast. We tweet before every episode goes live and also have other relevant content that we're probably going to be covering in the show, as well as some cool gifts, so why not? Also, if you're not already, please feel free to give us a follow, search, look us up, give us a like, recommend, whatever you can do to help us out. We're on every major platform from Apple, Google, Spotify, all the way down to Podchaser, Stitcher, Deezer, whatever you like and listen to. That's where we're at. We're also on YouTube. Every episode goes up on there as well.
We love the constructive criticism, no matter how we get it.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like there's a few more people reaching out on Twitter, getting a couple ideas, and some things maybe to avoid going forward. But by and large, it's feedback is always good, no matter if it's positive or negative. So, but we're gonna start things off a little bit differently this week. We're gonna go with no breaking news, nothing crazy, but I just want, for no particular reason, Ace, I just want to talk about the Rams' new uniforms that were released this past week.
Oh yeah, huh? I think the players really enjoyed trying them out. I saw some videos of Cooper Kupp playing guitar, doing some other stuff on Instagram, and Robert Woods was shooting basketball hoops in his both in full uniforms.
You know, I was trying to be coy, but these things are just butt ugly, man.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like it's the logo itself was looking like the Chargers. Now they have the uniforms looking more like the Chargers. It's bad enough that they even look similar, but the fact that they play in the same damn stadium, like, come on, man, like,
yeah, no effort.
They just want to be able to reuse the paint for the field. It feels like at this point, like, come on, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually joined staff members now, and so like, the designer for the Chargers is working for the Rams. Maybe that's how it got mixed up.
Budget cuts, man. Budget cuts everywhere. What are you supposed to do? Well, there is actually a reason that we brought up these butt ugly uniforms from the Rams, and that is because we actually got a little makeover ourselves.
Well, that's about dang time.
We got a brand new logo, some more artwork coming out in the next few days, but I don't know. It's really nice. I really like it, and even better, we got it made by a professional, Sam Mack. If you are looking for any sort of freelance work, this lady has been making beer cans. She's been making a lot of great branding work over the last few years. Delight to deal with, very timely, punctual, everything, A+ across the board. So please, if you are looking for freelance work, please, you can find her on her website, Sam Mack Design, SAMMACK Design.com, or you can just shoot her an email at sammackdesign@gmail. I mean, it was a lot of fun making the logo with her.
I love it.
We had our own ideas, and she was like, "Nah, how about this?" And you know, the thing is she came up with so many different ideas, and we just wanted them all. You know.
And she put, one of the things you'll notice on her website, her portfolio site as well, is the typography. She really puts an emphasis toward that, tying it into the overall brand that she's making. And so with us, I love the type. And then the microphone in the center. Let's not spoil it. We'll let the listeners look for themselves, but it's well done on her part.
Yeah, and there was even an alternate design that actually had a baseball diamond integrated into it as well, but we found it to be a little busy. But
T-shirt.
I'm not gonna go too crazy, but I truly just look at that website, and if you don't find something intriguing on there, and you don't think she can do something, I will help you pay for it to prove you wrong, because it's like Ace said, the topography in itself, but it's just, you're gonna get something different. You're gonna get something professional, and most importantly, you're gonna get something that's gonna catch the eye. So,
and John's gonna help pay for it, he said.
I might end up eating those words. It's all right. I could use a nice tasty plate of crow right now to eat, but no. But in all seriousness, though, if you are looking for someone for basic web design, branding, and other graphic work, I would definitely reach out to her, sammackdesign.com, or shoot her an email, sammackdesign@gmail.com. So many thanks to her. Pleasure to work with.
Yes.
Referred by a friend, actually. Turned her on to us, and we couldn't be happier. So, that being said, I believe, since you are a very cultured man, you watch a lot of documentaries, there might have been a basketball one that you might want to discuss.
Yeah, where to begin with the Last Dance documentary? I mean, do you want to just throw it at me right now?
Well, I kind of want to preface everything that,
For sure.
Not only did this come at just like the perfect time when people are looking for things to watch, when people had time, and when, honestly, Jordan, the only time he's really come up is when people are comparing him to LeBron. When LeBron's being compared to him.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I think overall they did a really good job. I was oddly surprised that the whole flu game ended up being what him and his security posse and close friends called it, a food poisoning, a pizza delivered to his room that only he would eat, because the story was that all of his guys in the room already had eaten and they were playing cards or shooting the breeze, whatever, after the game. And so since they already had eaten, he was pissed off at them. He's like, okay, I want to order something. It happened to be at like 10:30 or something. Basically, every restaurant was closed. And so he orders a pizza. And, yeah, they claim that five delivery guys showed up to the door of the hotel they were staying at. The whole thing seemed very odd. I believe he was sick. Who knows with what, though. But that was kind of interesting to hear his whole posse kind of going with that story.
I mean, you could tell that he was not looking great. Like, even with the naked eye, you could tell that he wasn't. Something wasn't right. So maybe not flu. I mean, if he was having the flu, I mean, I feel like you would have saw more fluids. Like, I understand that they were trying to maintain him on the sidelines whenever he wasn't in the game. Obviously, he was limited. But I feel like we would have seen a little more flu symptoms. But regardless, I mean, it doesn't really, take anything away if it wasn't the flu. I mean, I'm pretty sure his legacy has already been cemented. But
yeah, that was one thing I didn't really know the story of, because I've heard so many rumors about it. But overall, I thought the ending, and you could tell at times he was going to tear up, because whenever he'd say, let's stop here, like, you just knew he was going to get emotional, but he didn't want to show it in front of the camera. It's just kind of interesting to get that close up of him.
Yeah, well, and I think another thing too that people realize that it's a little bit different with him, because every time you see him playing against like one of the greats, which was a lot of what the documentary covered, he was playing against some really great teams. Mm-hmm. But you realize that things are a little bit different back then. Like even like when you said like the story of him playing with the flu, like you can just picture like a football star of the same kind of breath saying like, oh, he played on 2 broken ankles, broken ribs, shattered pelvis, like all of these embellishments. But it's like at the time, it's like, wow, like this is so impressive. But years later, even if that's not the case, it's like, well, who cares? Like, it doesn't change a whole lot. The dude's still the GOAT, and I didn't need a documentary to tell me so, but it's pretty nice to see all this stuff and have other people kind of corroborate and kind of give perspective on what happened. But now that it's wrapped up, we got some opinions and we got some views, and I just want to ask you straight up, 100% truthfulness, did Jordan push off?
No. I think if you look at it closely, Russell was already losing his balance, and that may have assisted, but I don't think it was hard enough of a push, blatant enough.
Okay. All right. Well, in the vein of honesty, since we're being truthful to one another, I want you to tell me that you honestly don't think that the Minneapolis Miracle wasn't 2 Saints players tackling each other.
I have no clue what that guy. He was diving at the ground. I happened to see a replay on it was on ESPN the other day. He was diving at the ground before the ball was even caught. I don't know what the heck happened there. I don't like to dive into conspiracies. Well, maybe I do. I think he was,
I mean, Diggs is gone. It's okay. We can talk about this now. I'm over it. And it turned out to be incredibly irrelevant because you guys got absolutely massacred the next game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was just at the bar having a nice meal, with my girlfriend, and I was like, was watching the game, and and all of a sudden I'm just like, what the hell just happened? Like,
yeah.
And they show the replay, and he literally takes out his own teammates. So I just wanted to see if there was any delusional Vikings fans that think that Diggs did all this, and okay.
No.
As long as we're clear that the dude literally took out his own teammate.
I'm a realist. I can live with that.
Just because I had you under oath, I just wanted to get that taken care of.
I know. I was a little nervous. You had me sweating at first. I was like, what the heck is he going to pull up from college or something and just completely...
No, that's for later episodes once we start running out of material. But since we're talking about NBA and the Last Dance stock, ESPN actually released their top-ranked NBA players of all time. And they go as follows: Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. So, it's hard. When you get to the top 20, I'd say it starts getting really hard, but top 10, you can't move Shaq any higher, I don't think. It's hard. It's hard to argue, because you could always argue one way or the other. Like,
yeah.
The top 3, I would say I would move Wilt over Magic probably. But Jordan, LeBron, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain, like that's a good 5, man. Like that.
What a perfect time for them to release this, right when the documentary ends, and like when clearly there's a stall.
Oh, I mean, it's ESPN with ESPN documentary, so I'm sure that this was 100% the reason that this happened. But
these debates are so stupid. I mean, I look at it like this: you got to look at it like who's the greatest. I almost look at it in categories: who's the greatest of all time, who's the most competitive, who's the best rebounder, the best defense. Like, I'd rather look at it in categories like that, because top player of all time, yeah, everyone's going to say Jordan. I think Kobe's got to be up there higher than where he is. I think Shaq should actually move up higher. But
really?
Yeah, I think Tim Duncan could be behind them, because if you're...
okay. Now you're just trying to piss... No, I'm just kidding.
But like Shaq, for instance...
You know my heart on for Tim Duncan.
Think about it. There's 5 Laker players on there. I mean, I know Shaq didn't play his entire career there.
LeBron's
but come on.
Been there for a half minute. Don't count him as a Laker.
Yeah, true. You're Cleveland, but still, almost half of them are Laker players. Which, I mean, who are you going to move up? I think Russell Westbrook, top players like James Harden. They're not top 10, but like those guys are talented
they're not
too.
Even top 15, man. That's the thing, because then you're going to have all the old school versus new school, which is why you say the debate is pointless.
Yep.
I agree, but it's entertaining just to see like people's opinions. I mean, and the thing is, it's like no one is right. I mean, I feel like the top 3, top 4 are pretty uncontested. It's like impossible to move between those.
Who out of all of those? Okay, so excluding Jordan, out of all those guys, who do you want making the last shot? Who do you want taking the last shot? Because I got mine. It's number 9.
I already know who the hell you're going to talk, but they're going to be in the paint, so Duncan.
I want Kobe. I got Kobe. Excluding Jordan, Kobe's taking the last shot.
You're going to take Kobe over Bird?
Oh, I mean, yeah, okay, you're right. I got to go Bird and then Kobe because he's older.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, even post-mortem, I want to push Kobe up, but the players and what they did for the game, I mean, the thing you could argue about Kobe is that, like, after the Jordan era, there was a void. You know, they were looking for superstar power. They were looking for likable players. They're looking for talented and successful players, and Kobe filled that void. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot more complete players and a lot more influential players on that list than Kobe.
Yeah.
Even though, like, don't get me. I mean, trust me, I love him as much as anybody, but I mean,
isn't it funny though how when you say that, how much it would change? Like if you said, "Give me your top 10 of most, clutch shooters of all time," or something, or more clutch scorers.
Robert Horry, Ray Allen,
Steve Kerr,
Reggie Miller. Oh,
Reggie
Kerr. There you go. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like top ranked. I mean, what are you ranking them on? It's meant to be interpreted however you want to interpret it. So I don't know. I wasn't expecting a hard headed debate. I just kind of wanted to see what your thoughts were. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course they put it out at a great time right after the documentary, so that'd be a good talking point. Speaking of a talking point, I didn't really think this could ever be a story that I would ever want to bring up in an episode, but I feel like we have to address this. There are just an insane amount of arrests going around in the NFL.
You know, it's a shame those guys just don't learn.
It's getting bad. Like I was telling Ace earlier, like typically every year I get involved in an NFL offseason arrest pool. Like it sounds like a joke, but it's legit. Like you get in a pool, you draw a team, and then if the player from that team is actually arrested, not just charged, actually arrested, you win the whole pool. And this is the first year I didn't do it.
And the more I thought about that idea, include like player fines too, just in case, like maybe there's probably always going to be an arrest, unfortunately, it seems like.
During the season, off season, I don't think it matters. I think it's a thing.
Yeah. The more I was thinking, I'm like, you could even include player fines too if it got close toward the end of the year.
I mean, when Ndamukong Suh was on the Lions, everyone was fighting to get the Lions because they knew he'd at least get two a year. So,
yeah.
But okay, so Quentin Dunbar, DeAndre Baker, Ed Oliver, Cody Latimer, all of these little churls getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that happens in the off season. But do you think that this is it the same thing, different off season, or is this happening and it's going to be worse because there's not a real off season schedule in place yet?
No, unfortunately, it's a product of their environments. I mean, the first two, Quentin Dunbar and DeAndre Baker, from what I read, it's basically how if let's say we had a beef with somebody that we don't know, but how do you think we would solve that? We'd either email them. Let's say we lost something in the mail. Somebody, got us gypped out of money or something. A guy that lives around the area. We'd settle it by talking. Unfortunately, people that grow up in rough environments and around drugs and violence all the time, their unfortunate way to settle things is to pull the gun out because it's the quickest way to get an answer. And that's what those two did in robbing. I think it was, were they friends or was it just like a house party that went wrong?
They're on competing teams, so I would imagine there was some sort of affiliation outside of
yeah. Well, yeah, since they're all in quarantine, I'm guessing these guys probably grew up around that area where they were arrested in Florida. And so they, unfortunately, were probably just around the wrong crowd at a party.
I mean, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but just seeing and hearing some of the stupid shit that happens, even during the season, not even just the off season, but it's like, man, you gotta wonder. I don't think adults need babysitters, but maybe like hand holders while they're crossing the street. Go to a club, maybe don't bring your piece. I don't know. Like, if you're making, contracted to make $15 million, don't sell drugs on the side. You don't really need to. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense, but like so they clearly, I think there was a vendetta or there's something that Baker lost money out on something and he feels like it was wrongly fixed, not in his favor, which is why he lost the money. So he got Dunbar to come. And did you read about Latimer, by the way? Cody Latimer? Apparently he was at like a poker game and became aware that one of the guys at the table was allegedly abused his 4-year-old son, Cody Latimer's son. That's what Latimer's attorney is saying. And all of that came out during this poker party.
It sounds like trash talking gone wrong. I don't know if it was literal and just to kind of trigger him, just to get him. Maybe he was winning and they're just trying to throw him off his game. That's kind of what it sounds like. But, obviously there's still plenty of details still to come out. But, yeah, it's pretty messed up. I mean, these aren't your traditional, arrest stories, right? These are a little bit different. These are some next level COVID lockdown stuff, I
think you're right. A part of it is the fact that we are locked down, so it's very limited seeing people, and they're competitive just like we are. So
yeah, well, and I think another part too is when it's the off season, they're not thinking I am a blank and blank for the San
Yes.
Francisco Blanks. Like, it's just, you're a human. If someone says, like, hey, like, I did this, or I jacked you, or I did, whatever, like, your natural reaction is like, dude, give it back, or don't do that.
Yeah.
So I guess, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but come on, man. Like, shit.
I agree. I agree. It happens
I want to believe that the NFL as a product is getting smarter and more conscious of their surroundings and their decision making, because on the field or off the field, it's a bad look no matter where it happens. Like if there's an altercation, incident, or arrest on or off the field, or if it's during the season or off season, it's not good.
Do you end up finding the teams? I mean, I know these teams could potentially cut these guys, but at the end of the day, the teams are the ones making the decisions to hire players, whether they do background checks thoroughly or not. I mean, I guess how do you fix this thing? Because I can't see it being fixed.
I think for the most part, because now judge, jury, and executioner Roger Goodell has just been kind of throwing the penalties where he sees fit, but it's like you find the teams. I mean,
yeah,
it's always an inconsequential amount of money that it's literally a drop in the bucket. Like, why
Yep.
bother, kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's like, what are they doing with that money anyway? Like, I hopefully that shit's going to charity, because it's not like the NFL needs more money. But
Yeah.
then if you think it just in terms of this particular season, if you find the team, I mean, the Packers, I guess, are a great example because they don't have an owner. They don't have someone that can just, go to the International Bank of Jerry Jones and just throw more money at the team.
Mm-hmm.
If you start finding the team, it's actually going to hurt them because they're not going to have the same kind of sales and revenue streams as they normally would during a regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's hard because you're breaking into a different level here, because you're not just working with the employees, you're working with now their families. Like, if you throw the dude in jail, well, now their whole family's, like, destroyed.
Yeah, and that's...
and if you penalize them and he gets cut from the team, I understand that's their own decision. I 100% understand that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and at this point, I'd rather the NFL let the legal, especially when you're getting arrests, just let the legal process handle this, get all that you can, and be prepared for when you do make a statement on how you're going to fine them or suspend the players, however that works out.
That's how it gets kind of fishy, though, because then you have like the Robert Kraft thing where he's just bribing people, buying the evidence so the tape doesn't go public, and then it's like, well, what are we gonna do? We can't convict him in court, so and it's just kind of brushed under the rug. So, or Tom Brady breaks his cell phone, so you can't get any evidence off it, which BS, by the way. If you know anything about phones, you know that there's a backup of everything that you send, whether it be call logs, text logs.
Absolutely.
There's a record of it somewhere. So I think is stupid. But the NFL gets evidence from TMZ or whatever,
exactly.
Whoever's hot at the press and wants to sell their info to whoever. So it's hard to trust someone that's kind of burned you a few times. It's like going back to that ex-girlfriend for the third time. Like, is that really a good idea? Should you really trust them?
Well, and the owners, I think that kind of shows how much power the owners have too.
Well, they are Goodell's boss, and he listens to them and gets paid by them. So
yeah.
We have gotten ourselves down a rabbit hole, haven't we?
A little bit.
Well, we're not getting out. We're not getting out because there's more. There's more. So the NFL released earlier this week that the teams will be voting to, and they plan on rewarding teams for hiring minority candidates as coaches or GMs, and the reward will be higher draft picks. The rules that they were looking to implement and vote on would be that they would require 2 minority candidates.
How come it took this long? Sorry, go.
So they're doing the draft pick, but they're also amending the Rooney Rule to require at least 2 minority candidates to interview for head coach openings and at least 1 coordinator spot. As of a couple hours ago, the issue was tabled during the discussion. They're just apparently there's been a good amount of fire coming back, but there's only 4 minority coaches going into this current NFL season in the league, so they feel like it's a pressing issue. The Rooney Rule has been in place for quite a bit now. I know that there was I can't remember what team it was, but They
Oh,
were going to hire a
the
coach.
Chiefs? Was it Eric Bien? No, he's the offensive coordinator for them.
They were going to hire a coach, but they didn't interview a minority candidate first, and so that they couldn't hire the guy. And I believe he signed with another team. I don't remember. I apologize. I can't remember
Not the
team
Jets
or the coach, but
I remember
you know what
hearing,
I'm talking about, right?
Yes,
Like
yeah.
It was a huge deal, and people were like, "Come on! Like why would you bring someone in for an interview when they had no real chance of getting the job? They had already found their guy, and you just brought him in just as a formality because you had to, because it was the rule."
Yeah, I was being facetious earlier. I think it's kind of a joke that they've had to go to these lengths. I mean, if a guy's good enough to do a job, number one, it starts at like the entry level. I think you got to pay these guys a little bit more because some don't have the opportunity, like like Phil Sims is, what the heck's his name? Chris Sims, or the other guy Shanahan, to learn under their dads. So it's like I think it starts from there, and that's a shame that there's only 4 minority coaches. That's an absolute shame.
And to be fair, though, I think that's a very low number compared to seasons past. I think they kind of it has not been that low, I believe. Feel free, someone tweet me whenever you feel like if I'm incorrect, but I feel like that is a season low, or at least in the last decade or so. That's definitely a low point, but it feels incredibly forced. And I joked about it when I first saw the headline and started thumbing through the stories, but I can just see teams Patriots, I can just see Belichick hiring these pseudo coaches just to these imaginary positions just to get the draft capital. Like, because they're not small picks. Like, these are 3rd-round picks they're offering if you hire one as a head, if you hire a minority. And you kept saying, man, don't forget, women are also included into this too. It's not just racial; it's also gender as well. So, a 3rd-round pick. I mean, there's most drafts. There is so much value in the mid rounds. So,
and think about it. Well, think about it now. You're basically gonna make it more obvious why you're doing it versus not even having this stupid rule in place.
Well, and consider it if it was your job. If you were African American, if you were Asian American, or what have you, and there was 50 candidates, and you were the only person of a minority culture, and you got the job, and you knew that.
It's just a
You're
bad
not gonna
look.
Feel good? No, it's not. You know what? I understand that changes need to be made, but bribing teams essentially and forcing their hand. The Rooney Rule, you know what? I'm actually very okay with it.
Yeah,
because that it's forcing, but you're not incentivizing people to possibly make the wrong decision for their teams, for their franchises. Because let's be honest, for about a dozen teams, they're perfectly proficient at making their own screw ups on their own. They don't need to be incentivized to make poor coaching and GM hires. I feel like it's forcing the issue, but. They tabled it for now. Who knows? Things might change in the coming days, but I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I've even talked to multiple minorities themselves, just like, hey man, like what do you think of this? And they kind of have the same thing. Like it's forced, and it's sad that it's come to this, but you know what? It's not going away. It's not going away.
I've always thought like they do this for music all the time, blind auditions, where you basically don't see the person, you just listen to them talk through an interview, whether it's a guy or a girl. I know that sounds crazy when you're trying to hire somebody for especially an important job, but blind interviews work the best because it's like
I like that.
You're not judging them face on, and like owners, come on, let's look at it for fact. Owners, all of them are white. All of them have some sort of fraternity or like business background, like they're in a brotherhood more or less. And God knows what goes on behind closed doors. But unfortunately, that's what it is.
Is it bad when you said that? I just had like drugs and sexual things. I'm thinking the owners get away.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're all. I'm pretty sure they're definitely not all white, but.
No, sorry. Yeah, that was
by and large, yeah. So it's a thing, and unfortunately, it's not something that is going to change overnight. So I am in favor of changes that go to, mixing things up a little bit more and improving the diversity. But I don't think that you should be rewarding them with draft capital. But
Yeah.
We'll see. Nothing's confirmed. They haven't even voted on it yet, but I mean, knowing that that's the road that they want to take, it's a little alarming to me personally, but
I agree.
I'm just an armchair analyst. What do I know?
we're diving into somewhat politics because this is clearly clearly a larger issue.
All right, let's get out of the rabbit hole. Let us ascend to the surface and let us finish this beautiful show with the best part of it. Ace's Quick Six. What is it this week?
Because the MLB is talking, they've thrown out, 2 or 3 different ideas of how to handle the season. I thought, you know what? Why not just look at it like this? Let's look at the states best suited to host baseball most likely without fans. So I kind of put a sort of a joke spin on it, but it actually has some practicality. And in doing so, I found out a lot about like baseball complexes throughout the country. First one. There is a baseball complex in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with 11 fields called the Grand Park at Market Common. 9 synthetic fields. Have the teams play there. Or, here's the thing, I kind of put a little East Coast, West Coast, Midwest thing to it too, so you could even have them play those AL Central, NL Central games like they proposed, but just do it there at these facilities. The next one on the East Coast, Fort Myers, Florida, CenturyLink Sports Complex. That also is home to my Minnesota Twins spring training facility, Hammond Stadium. So, heck, that kind of works out well for us. Actually, no, it wouldn't if we technically would have to play in our Midwest area. But Fort Myers, they have a 360 boardwalk and a concourse. I assume they have concessions, clearly. So, if fans are welcome, heck, you get some food while you're at it and a good atmosphere, good weather. The next one, which came as a shock to me, having lived in Milwaukee for 7 years, Milwaukee, Wisconsin has the Rock Sports Complex. This must be fairly new, but it's got 4 MLB-sized fields. All 4 of them uniquely are modeled after current stadiums. I don't know why they chose Busch Stadium as one, being that the Cardinals are a huge rival, but they chose Busch Stadium. They chose the San Francisco Giants Stadium. And then I can't think of the other 2. Well, one I think is clearly Miller Park, but I don't know what the other is. They have 4 MLB-sized fields, 6 ball fields in total, so clearly you'd have to work around some of that. Next one, Grand Park, Indiana. Grand Park is the complex name. Check this out. They have 26 baseball fields, 4 synthetic, and 8 are fully lit for night games. So that works out well. Round Rock, Texas. Old Settlers Park has 20 baseball fields, just insane. And clearly with Texas being so large, you kind of got to have something there. And last, to round out the quick 6, Reno, Nevada, Golden Eagle Regional Park has 4 full-size baseball fields. It has a restaurant grill, which would help if fans were allowed. But I kind of figured, you know what, since everyone's going crazy sitting at home and all this stuff, why not have somewhat of a little joking spin on this whole where are these guys going to play thing and have them play
it hasn't been decided, so maybe you can submit that research to the powers that be, and maybe we'll have some games at Milwaukee. I do think they want to keep everything down south just because supposedly that's supposed to help contain the virus or kill the virus or virus. Well, that was awesome. Thank you. I know that we got a little serious for this one, so we'll make sure to be extra jokey next round. But you got to talk about the serious stuff every once in a while because sports isn't all just home runs and touchdowns. So I think that's all. Is that all?
Yeah.
That is it. Cool. All right. Good show. Like I mentioned before, feel free to follow us on Twitter at AA Podcast or whatever you feel the need to do. We also have a listing on every major platform. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Podchaser, TuneIn, Alexa, everything. So feel free to give us a like, subscribe, comment, follow, whatever you can do to help our cause. We much appreciate it. We love doing this, and pretty surprised that we have as many people listening as we do. So again, we want to give a shout out to Sam Mack for making our new logo and the rest of our artwork for us. We truly appreciate it. Give her a look if you're looking for graphic design. That is our show. Thank you guys for listening. I am Johnny. That is Ace, and we are out.
Keep it up.